All right, testing the mic. Can everyone hear back there? All right, great. Dessert's going to be served while we get started, and I would like to invite Miss Dolly DePies up to introduce us.
Thank you, President Walter. So it's my job to tell you why we went to Thailand. As you heard earlier, this was Quincy Rotary's first international grant. And Margaret's going to tell you what that means, because it's unbelievable that we did it, and Margaret did a lot of the work. But we also partnered with a nonprofit organization called Friends of Thai Daughters. Jane and Patty, Jane McBride, Patty Sinkowski, went to Thailand over 20 years ago on a vacation, and they fell upon a building that was abandoned where children were living by themselves, boys and girls, barely having enough to eat. When they left, if they did have something to eat, someone would steal it. So they went back to the United States and said, you know, we have to do something about this. Fast forward a little bit, and a couple years later, they founded Friends of Thai Daughters. And they worked with different nonprofit organizations in Thailand. But what has developed now is that they, I'll call them rescue girls that perhaps would be trafficked in northern Thailand. They're 20 years old, the organization is. I've known these girls for over 35, 40 years. I never knew, I knew what they did, but I never had been to Thailand. And then I went to one of their fundraisers in 2019, and my mom was with me, and she said, you know, Doll, you need to really go to Thailand. So I took my nieces and myself, and we went to Thailand. The experience is, you're going to hear about it tonight. It's indescribable, really, about when you see the girls, where they came from, and where they are now. So I've made 3 trips to Thailand. This is my 3rd trip. And when it was my 2nd trip, and I kind of learned more about Rotary and international grants, which, of course, our club had never done one, so it was hard for me to figure out what we did. And we, of course, did it wrong in the beginning, but that's okay. We figured it out. We raised money for Friends of Thai Daughters just on the side. We raised about $22,000. And then I talked to Margaret, and we tried to figure out what do you need to do to get an international grant, which is a lot of hoops to jump into to get an international grant. So what we're going to talk to you about tonight is we went to Thailand in January for 2 weeks. The first part of the vacation, I'll call it, in the beginning, we were in southern Thailand. We went to Phuket, and we experienced what southern Thailand is like, and we actually met one of the girls who is a Friends of Thai Daughter, just graduated from college, and she actually has been to the United States many times. We met with her the first night we were there. She took us to a restaurant, and thankfully she was translating and figuring out what we should order, because we just arrived and we didn't know what we should do. So the first week was really just us kind of exploring Phuket, and then we went to northern Thailand where the girls are. And that's really what we want to tell you about, is the experience that we saw in northern Thailand and the money that we raised, which ended up being about $125,000 to this project where they built a new home for the girls at Friends of Thai Daughters. So now Margaret's going to talk to you about how we raised the money, where the money went to, and showing you pictures of the project finished.
3 years ago, Janet Batson came on the trip with us, and it was really understanding the culture, understanding what the needs were, and how we could be supportive. So I know some of you have seen some of the parts of this project, and so I think we had showed you the video. We bought a tractor, right? So they used the tractor, dug out the fish pond, dug out the swimming pool, and use that to make adobe bricks and then build this house. When you see this, you're going to think we built a luxury resort. But what I'm going to talk to you about tonight is what the Rotary dollars went to, right? So Dolly talks about 100,000 of the 125 we raised was specific for the grant project, and it was for the farm portion. So here's what you're seeing. So this is a sunflower shape, and each row has plantings. We have our solar and our water utilities. This infrastructure was purchased with Rotary. Here's Pat in Luta, one of our favorites, truly. And, she was giving us a tour so we could we have a lot of follow-up paperwork to get this global grant box checked off with Rotary International. But this is what you're seeing in these slides are what your dollars that you helped us and supported us in through the project in our various fundraising. Not only was it our club, and the district, our club donated $10,000 of club money. We donated, our district matched that with another $10,000. We had the Mishon Rotary Club, which was our partner on the ground, that really handled the finances, doling out funds, matching it with receipts. You're seeing them here. They had a lovely banner made for us to take a picture with, and a couple of other clubs around the world. So it's really interesting to understand the power of Rotary and how you can bring people together. And our Mishon partners are involved in so much on such a grander scale. And it really, for me, opened my eyes about the power of Rotary on a broader scale than just the good we do here in our own home community. I'll jump a little bit. That picture you just saw was us awarding the club Paul Harris Awards, and thank you, John Prosciutto, for your help with that. It's probably, this will make you really proud, but one, John says to me, Carol, sitting over here, had so many Paul Harris Awards, there was no pin left. And so we get over there, and Dolly says, Carol asked us to bring relish. So instead of getting a Paul Harris pin, she was awarded relish. I thought you'd like that. Song, Kay Song, was the other Rotarian that we presented a Paul Harris Fellow to, and is, I believe, was he the governor of Rotary over there, Dolly? I think he's the equivalent of our district governor, and they're just so powerful, a group of people. So here we go. Through here, you're seeing the vegetables, the equipment, the greenhouses, the seedlings. And so part of it is this project fell under the community and economic development, right? So this isn't just about the farming, it's teaching the girls about organic farming. It's typically heavy carcinogens, and they're trying to educate them on the unhealthy choices. So we're giving them job skills. They all grow up in hill tribe villages, which are very agricultural, but heavy pesticide use. So Luta here is actually employed. She's one of our outcomes, our outputs is being able to hire somebody. She's the farm manager. And the crops and produce, they have different rotations of what they're growing. And not only are they using, like they picked the lettuce and we ate the lettuce and the different vegetables that they were growing there, but the surplus they're selling at market. And so what you see here are organic eggs, which are pretty rare over there, and they draw a great price. This here is the basket of vegetables that each of the Mishon Rotarians were gifted as a thank you for coming and their support. So, I mean, just the pride and generosity that everybody is taking it, working on in their efforts. An amazing group of people. Girls, not only are they now being fed healthy foods, they're learning job skills, bringing them to market. We're branding the Friends of Thai Daughters organic eggs. They're being sold to hotel partners, but these deals are being brokered with the girls in mind, and the girls are part of the conversation. We were able to dine on that fish. So some of it has a long growth period, some of these fruit trees, but everything that we had said as we reviewed what our grant funds were being used, it has been purchased, has been implemented. Things are growing. They're growing through different seasons, using the vegetables, using the fruits. And this one here is actually the day of our hike, which I'm sure you're going to hear about in our kind of Q&A. But as we went through the hike, some of the products they brought in for us to eat, other things we foraged in the forest. So that's the overview images of our now called Sunflower Organic Farm. Nobody knew what a thrivable farm is, but organic is better branding. Luta, our farm manager, it was such a joy to walk through, to see her. She's one of the Thai girls that does not have ID, that could not otherwise be employed, yet she is able to through the foundation and is taking such pride in her work. And the girls, you know, we're very conscious that it's not child labor. There's, hey, you can do some chores on the farm, or you're of a certain age that this is your job, but she is getting paid as the farm manager. So with that, we really wanted this opportunity. I think a lot of you have heard from me and Dolly about like, yep, they're going to Thailand again, and we're raising money for Thailand again. But really, it was very life-changing for a trip for me, and it was so great this time to have a broader group of Rotary to join us. So if my husband, Jeff, Kathy and Wally Hubley, Tracy Wilson want to come forward, we'd love to do a little Q&A and let you hear about their experiences.
Before we get into the Q&A, I just wanted to talk to you about what I have on. So one of the most profound things that we do is we go into the hill tribes where these girls are from. We see mud huts where they live if they're not at Friends of Thai Daughters. But the day we visited, the girls from Friends of Thai Daughters go twice a month back to the village, one of the villages. This is called the Aka village where we were. And they teach the kids in the village, boys and girls, about many, many things, about friendships, about birth control, about keeping yourself safe, about how important education is. So when we went, you'll see pocketbooks and all kinds of things that we purchased when we were there, but this was made by one of the women in the village. And this is an Aka, I'll call it costume, but they make different versions of this, but basically it looks similar with the black and the beading on the side. Some of them aren't so ornate as this. Some of them obviously less ornate. But after I purchased it, Jane McBride, one of the founders, said to me, you know, what you paid for that is going to support her family for a month. You know, it's really inexpensive in Thailand. I mean, you can get a full body massage for an hour for like $6. So when the girls go to college from Friends of Thai Daughters, it costs $3,000 a year. And many of the girls have gone to college. In fact, when we went to the Aka village, we met one of the moms of one of the girls who just graduated from dental school. And she has been here and met John Pachuco in Quincy. And her mother was so excited and so happy that her daughter had gone through this program and graduated from school.
So here's a little bit of the living conditions, just so you're seeing. This is below.
Here, Margaret.
So this would be like the dirt basement. It's a bamboo house, no running water, no utilities. In the kitchen is the dirt floor with a campfire like you would have if you went out camping. There is not a stove and utilities. Very, very primitive. So I just want to kick it off with one of our welcomes before we get our Q&A going. So I should have cued this video here. And we're just going to show a quick
So likewise, as Dolly did with the dress, Catherine and I purchased this blanket. I don't know, Jeff, do you want to model that for us, please? Thank you. and when we went to, this was purchased at, what's the name of the school that we went to? The
Rainbow House.
The Rainbow House, thank you. This was purchased by one of the hillside tribe villages. Rainbow House, and likewise we were told that the impact that it would have on just their ability to feed the family over the course of time just through these types of purchases. And we also got, we were given these bags over here. Oh, share this. Oh, you've got one up, okay. As gifts. Oh, Jeff's already modeled the one. We believe it or not, we did not coordinate this. And so, it was great to be able to bring things back from our trip that sort of reminded us and represented part of our experience, and have the opportunity to help the families that we were purchasing them from. So.
I will say one thing is the Rotary Club should be extremely proud of where this money is going. I don't know if I've ever witnessed a nonprofit run as beautifully as this. And knowing that it all started with, I think you already heard, a friend of Dolly's from 2002. These two women went on vacation to Thailand, and they visited the Hill Tribe villages and said, we can't sit back and we have to do something. And they started this nonprofit way back then. And what it has grown into, what it has become is absolutely amazing. It's not like when we were talking with the Leisure today, one of the things people ask is, well, how do they get the girls, and are you rescuing them? Are you saving them? And it's not about just taking them from their homes and their villages, which is their culture, where they grew up, and it's all they know. They don't just rip them out from their families. They actually go in. They have social workers. They make it such a revolving community. So with these girls, as you said, one's a dentist. She brings that back to her community. The Sunflower Farm, they're selling to market. They're eating off the farm. They're just, it keeps evolving. And the house, the Rainbow House. Oh, Pat and I sponsored Sprite. We love Sprite. So anyway, Sprite, by the way, she's 10 years old, and she just went to the home in September, I believe, of 2022. And she grew up in one of those homes that you saw. No running water, dirt floor, no electricity, no parents. Her mother abandoned her. She doesn't know who her father is. We're not really sure who was even taking care of her. It wasn't her, they say grandmother, but it wasn't really her grandmother.
Who was also deaf. Couldn't communicate with her.
Yeah. So Sprite goes to Friends of Thai Daughters, and it's my understanding when she first moved into the home, she had a very difficult time leaving that house that you saw, because that's what she knew. Like, that's all she knew. But she was like thriving like you wouldn't believe. Didn't really speak much English, but could communicate with you like she did. And she was singing, she did solos, we were dancing with her. She was great, unbelievable. But they were all like that. They all take care of each other. You're talking about a bunch of teenage girls living in the same quarters, and they were also respectful to each other. They all take care of each other, respectful to the adults, to the house managers. I don't even know. I'm going to keep going on. So I think you just got to ask another question, because there's so much to
I'll go
talk
next
about.
door.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say that my impression of the girls was that they were incredibly sweet and so very kind to one another, kind to everyone. And everywhere we went, people were just genuinely just kind. That was my overall.
That same with me. They were just very welcoming, very respectful. I think that's part of their culture, is to respect elders. But it was refreshing. And they're just kids. They're just normal kids. And to see where they come from and to see where they are now it's heartwarming. Really is. So. Yeah.
I think you should talk about the dance party.
See, I was just trying to pull that up. You see here in the center photo, the
So
dance
yeah,
party?
so the first day that we met them, we went out to a dinner, and they were not shy, they were still welcoming, but as the week went along, things got a little bit weird, and we started dancing and singing and karaoke, and it was just like being with my kids. It was special. It's hard to describe. You really have to experience it. But yeah. I mean, one of my favorite moments, and I'm sure it's most of ours, was the hike that we did. Was a couple hours in the jungle, and just seeing how the tribal children would go out and catch their own fish and pick their own vegetables from the wild where we're hiking, and then cook it right in front of you. And just how resourceful they were by it seemed like everybody had a job and everybody just knew what to do, and it wasn't work for them, though. They were having fun. They were all laughing and trying to teach us how to catch the fish and what they were doing.
Explain, I got behind you, fishing.
So where the river would split off, they would actually build a dam out of mud. And I figured, they had these nets, and I figured they would build a dam. The fish would pile up in there. They would open a hole and just put the net there and catch the fish that came through. But that wasn't the case. What they would do is build a dam and then basically pick them up off the dry ground. And I said, well, that's much easier,
How big were the fish? How big were
The,
the fish?
the biggest fish was probably like this big. When they caught one that big, they were very excited.
And how did we do at fishing?
I caught one fish. It was about this big, and they went, no good. And they let that one go to grow up for a later time. But it was a very interesting experience for sure.
I want to see this picture here. Why don't you tell us about? This is the father-in-law of me's best friend.
Yeah. So
Oh, you could be Vanna.
they actually chopped down bamboo trees and made these, serving vessels out of it. They not only did that, they made chopsticks. What else did they make? They made like little cups. They used it this way and made cups for the different sauces and everything. The bamboo leaves that they put on the ground were for us to sit on, and they also wrapped the food in there and kind of steamed it. So it was really interesting to see how they did things and how much they need to rely on what is out there to actually survive. I couldn't imagine doing that, so.
What about electricity, if they had any, where did it come from?
So the village did have electricity, but I would imagine that you would have to be pretty well off to have it in your house. Not a lot of the houses had it.
There's a lot of solar in that area, and Rotary projects we didn't particularly on this trip, but the previous ones, we had seen Rotary had built like composting toilets.
But when they do that, they do like a composting toilet for the village, right? So some of these, we're talking like outhouses. There's not a bathroom in your home. And so as these girls are coming to Thai Daughters, they're, living in the Western ways with utilities in a home. These villages' homes, and we were in quite a few. Nara, who Dolly's first daughter, has a cement home that's been converted to the Rainbow House Community Center. And so that's a wealthy home, a cement home. However, no utilities in that home either. There's like an outhouse behind it. So very primitive lifestyle.
And a lot of the homes that do have electricity are related to drug money. And one other thing I want to tell you about the girls is that the culture in Thailand is that if a couple gets divorced and then the mother remarries, she doesn't have to take her kids with her. So some of these girls are homeless because her mother remarried and that husband doesn't want them. And so they have to fend for their own, and some of them, that's how they ended up at Friends of Thai Daughters. Each village has like a village head person, head man, it's usually a man. And they kind of take care of the village. And they are the people that also refer girls to Friends of Thai Daughters, because they know that these girls, one of the girls who's Mipu, who now I'm sponsoring, who she's been to Quincy also, her mother's in jail for life and her dad doesn't want to have anything to do with her. We actually met her dad, not this trip, but the trip before, and Mipu was going to stay overnight for a night, and we went to the village and I said to Jane, you can't leave her here. He said, no, she'll be fine. I said, but her dad doesn't want her. I can see, we could all see that. And he said, no. The village person who, I think it was their uncle or something, will make sure she's fine. She's just going to stay overnight for a night and see her friends and people in the village. But you would see a hut with like, there's Mipu singing. She's off. She just graduated from 9th grade. You would see a hut, just mud hut, and next door is like cement with lights and a bathroom. I mean, that's how diverse it is in some of the villages.
The relationships that Friends of Thai Daughter have cultivated with these village elders, they have eradicated sex trafficking in 3 Hill Tribe villages, 2 of which we were able to visit. That is so impactful. By contrast, 3 years ago when we went to the Bangkok Rotary, and we're so proud, like, we're from Quincy and we're going to raise this money. We have this awesome project, thinking we're going to work this room, make some friends, get some donors. Yeah, until we were sitting next to the guy that owns the brothel. We're like, what? You're the good community guy, but this is your business? I mean, it's a real business over there. So to see the culture shift and to see these village headmen come back and build this pipeline of girls that help say, we're not going to allow this happen in our community. This is the relationships that we're going to build is very, very changing.
So just to segue off of what Dolly mentioned, the original question was, the original prompt was, what do you remember the most? What was like your sort of highlight from the trip? And mine relates somewhat to karaoke, I guess we'd say. So Mipu back here, she's singing Zombie by the Cranberries, by the way, and she did an amazing job at it, like really knew the song. But I have to say, probably the highlight was more of a personal one. On a fairly long drive from one area to another, I was sitting next to one of the girls, 7, and everyone got kind of quiet. It was getting a little later, and so she put her headphones in to listen to some of her music while everyone was quiet, and I could hear it coming out of the earbuds in her headphones. And she's singing along to these songs next to me, and so I recognized the song, and I started singing with her. And she kind of looks up, and she's like, "Oh, yeah." And she's like, "Oh, you know this song?" I said, "Oh, yeah, of course I do." And she's like, pulls it out of her ear and sticks it in my ear. And now here we are driving along, kind of vibing to these songs that we showing each other different songs we know, and we were singing different songs together. And finally, she's like, "Do you want to sing one of these when we get back to the house?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So after they did the dance routine and some of the other songs that you saw earlier, I saw her make a beeline over to the PA system, and she plugs in her device that she was listening to music on, and she sees me, and she's like, "Get over here, get over here." And so I sat down on the stage next to her, and we just did a little bit of a duet. Something Just Like This by the Chainsmokers and Coldplay, which was one of her favorites. So that probably my most memorable moment.
There we go. There they are.
There it is. I know.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Wally getting dance lessons from Sprite.
Right.
No. We had more than one dance party. So I was talking to Jane McBride, the founder. She was with us, and she said to me, over the past, I don't know how many years, we've had many groups visit from everywhere, from Boston, from California, from all over the place. No one has ever had a dance party. So only Quincy Rotary, yeah, she told me that.
Yeah.
Only Quincy Rotary has had a dance party. And who knew that Jeff and Wally could dance? I didn't know. We have video of them dancing with the girls. It's awesome.
We have all the videos. We have the video of you singing. Yes. And then, what was memorable is the first day we went to visit one of their home that the girls stay in. They actually sang to Dolly, "I Love You for 1,000 Years." It was you could start tearing up watching it. They were just all, I think there must be a picture somewhere. But all I can say is talking about this is very difficult because you can't relate unless you experience it. And I know Dolly and Janet and Margaret, we've been hearing them, I've been hearing them talk about it for a few years. And okay, we're going to Thailand. Okay, I've never been there. This is going to be great. And it's different when you go and experience it. To hear it from us, it's just not the same. And I would just say, if any of you can go and take this experience, it's worth it. It's worth all the flights. It's worth all the money. It's just do it. That's all I'm going to say is just do it.
We engage them as we're doing trainings, as it's organic farming, and there's a lot of partnerships with other NGOs, non-government organizations. So the reach, and that's something too that Rotary was like, and you need to measure, and how many people are going to get trained, and who's going to know about the chickens, and how many eggs are you going to catch. They literally are like, okay, well, we're going to partner with these 10 other nonprofits who are going to get these same educational skills and same, sustainable building. Because you think about Dow learning to build an adobe house. Now we can go up to the village, bring a tractor, build out a house, right? What other skills can we bring? I did want to ask about you can go back to your moments, but about the farm itself and the experience and the girls and what it meant to them to be in this new home. Because what we showed you on the trip too was the different, right? So like the before, which looks like bunk beds everywhere. It looks like your typical American sleepover, just like who can we cram in? What's going on? You know, versus we really built out this beautiful home with the organic farm to help support the girls. So,
Do you have a picture of that, Margaret?
oh yeah, we'll go right to
The
that.
house.
Of the before,
The after.
I can pull that up. Yep,
Okay.
here we go.
Because until you see this magnificent, when we first pulled up to the house, I thought I was at a resort. It's spectacular. So they have 2 homes in Thailand. So we were in Chiang Mai. We also visited Chiang Kong, where the other girls are. And those girls came to Chiang Mai, so we saw all the girls at once. But now, of course, the Chiang Kong girls have a house that's just cramped and not what they want it to be. So now Jane is trying to build them a new home also.
I feel like we showed that was on our invitation. I felt like I showed that one a lot. I pulled it out.
But a lot of people haven't seen that.
Okay, I'm on it.
And the home looks like, what Jane was saying, the home looks like a resort.
That's it right there.
That's
It
the
is a
interior
resort.
shot.
The interior. It's
But-
like the
but-
lobby of the Marriott.
She said this, that cost the same amount of money as the original plan that was drawn up by the architect in Thailand. It was like a box brick, looked like a prison with a little window. And the resort that you're gonna see cost the same amount of money as this
But it's
prison type
really
house.
spectacular.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Oh, there we go.
That's what it looks like.
That's the resort, that's it there.
With the swimming pool and the pickleball courts.
We
and-
tested the pool.
Yeah.
have video of that too. It's on there.
There's the entrance when you first
mean,
come
it's
in. That's
massive.
what it looks like. Yeah.
There's me, the house mom, that was the first daughter.
So that's so interesting too. One of the women that runs the new facility, she was the original daughter that was saved, and she went to college in sociology. She has 3 boys now, and she had 1 boy, and then she had twins, and twins in Thailand are bad, like bad luck, and so her mom didn't want to come and see her, but so she had to educate her mom about no, this is good. Twins are fine. It's not a problem, and now her mom's great with it and helps her with the twins and everything. And she now built a house right next to this where the girls live for her own place with her husband and her 3 boys. Yes.
Kelly, how many girls lived there at one time?
So one house has 22 and one house has 15 plus the house mothers. And actually both houses have a family that lives there with siblings. But that doesn't include the girls that are in college. So this year, 9 girls graduated from college. And I don't know how many are still in college. And when the girls graduate, there's the village with the outfits. They have to give back to the community in one way or another. They either have to come back to the Friends of Thai Daughters, or they have to do something community-wise to help the girls. That's a requirement. They actually sign a contract when they enter Friends of Thai Daughters to say that they're going to study hard. They're going to follow the rules, basically. And interestingly, the girls make some of the rules. Like when we were there, none of the girls had cell phones because somebody did something which they wouldn't tell us what it was. But the girls made this rule that, okay, if someone messes up and does something bad on their cell phone, everyone loses their phone. So the whole time we were there, which was, up 10 days, no one had a cell phone. So when we left, they wanted to iMessage us or to do something. So we got their information, but then they couldn't answer us until when we got back. And so then now they e-message me, they e-message us all the time, which is good because then you get to know what they're doing, make sure they're doing the right thing. And
Kathy, go ahead.
Margaret asked me to think about my thoughts on the farm. I wrote them down, but I won't read all of them because a lot of them actually the same thoughts that everyone's already had, a lot of them as well. But so my first impression of the beautiful architecture of the building itself, the amazing pickleball court, and the fabulous gardens and the massive chicken coop. But after meeting the girls and observing them going through their activities and interacting with each other, my way of thinking about what I saw sort of shifted. The building, although it's a beautiful, beautiful architecture with the high ceilings, once you see them making dinner and interacting with each other, and you see all the love that's there,
you know it's a home. And the pickleball court, although it's amazing and it's something that you recognize that the girls see pride in learning how to play. And one of them even took me by the hand and brought me to the court and asked me to be her partner to play, although we did get beat really badly by Jeff and his partner, so it was not a pleasant experience, but I tried to learn. I tried.
Kathy also had the dance move. She led the Macarena out there.
Yes, it was dancing. Yep.
Yep.
The garden, although absolutely fabulous, the sunflower and the long greens, green beans that were growing were amazing, but it all had a different view to me once one of the girls brought me out there and showed me the sweet potatoes that she had planted and how they were growing, and she was so excited to tell me that in about a month and a half that they'd be eating them, and she was so proud of herself, and that was amazing to see that, and that meant more. And then the fabulous massive chicken coop, which was absolutely massive, also took on a different meaning after you realize that the girls were going to not only get to eat the eggs that it was the chickens were producing, but also they were selling them at the market so that it made it self-sustaining for them. So that was very impressive to learn that as well. So the farm and all was great, but it was great on many levels.
Any other thoughts while you have the mic on? Experiences or moving moment, anything kind of
I would say moving moment. I mean, they're all moving moments. There were so many moving moments, but I would say getting hugs. The hugs that the girls gave us were beyond words. It was like no other hug that you got from a child ever. And I've been hugged by many, many children over my lifetime. There was so much sweetness and innocence, and they weren't tight and they weren't loose. It was just a genuine hug that wanted to just so much nurturing, just wanted to hug you, and there was so much love in it. And it was just that was my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, that was really one of my takeaways too, was the very last day saying goodbye. It was very emotional. You know, we had just met these girls, and a few of them actually broke down into tears when we were leaving. And one of the girls came over and gave me the biggest bear hug, and it brought me to tears a little bit too, you know. But to retouch on the eggs, Luta was telling us that the chickens lay 90 eggs a day, and they only use 60 a week. So the rest of that goes to market. So that's quite a bit of income for them to help, you know, support these children. So it's a gift that just keeps on giving back, what you guys did, really. You know, every harvest is money that comes into them and feeds them. So
Jeff, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit.
oh boy.
So I think Tracy started talking about this earlier, so feel free to jump in here because we want this to be conversational, right? So Tracy, particularly Tracy and Jeff, kind of knew they were on the hook to come to Thailand, or we were going with or without them. And so you can join us or FOMO or not. And so I don't think either of you in particular, knowing what you were getting into, what we were up to, and just you started talking a little bit about how transformative it was versus your expectations. And I'll share a little bit of Jeff was I didn't quite know, and you gave some donations, and I get it now. So can you kind of give us your aha moment? Fair warning, get your tissues out.
Aha moment. I mean, so many, but just seeing where they came from and where they're at now, and the opportunity that's afforded to these children to just be children now, just be kids, not have to go build dams and catch fish in order to eat. They have a life now that, you know, all they want is to be recognized, to achieve. We had dinners with them, and it would be two kids sitting next to you, one that spoke some English, one that would translate, and they were just very interested in what I did for work, and they wanted to tell me about them, and just that one-on-one time was, it's I don't know, it was very special.
And so when you came home, what did you decide to do?
I am now learning Thai, so I've I downloaded an app and I'm learning Thai. In case we go back, which I really hope to.
Say something to us in Thai.
Sawat means hello.
There we go.
There you go.
So Tracy, maybe the opportunity of.
I think you've heard it all.
Okay.
You can't explain it unless you go. I would just suggest if anyone has any questions.
How about any questions? And Pat, come on up and bring us home.
Margaret, explain how the girls come to from the villages to.
Okay, so as girls are identified as high risk, now we've got referrals from the Hill Tribe Village elders. So you saw Sprite that the McDermotts ended up adopting. Sprite's somewhat cousin, but like your best friend's kids that call you aunt and uncle, like that's more of the cousin relationship than blood cousin. Was it June that her grandmother was kind of like looking out for Sprite? And so really it's just that same word of mouth recommendation, like, psst, psst, I know a kid and can you help this kid? The same way we do here for a family in need, this great heart. And I think the other thing with the girls is like, there's no resentment. There's no like, my parents suck. They aren't taking care of me. They aren't providing for me. There's like not an ounce of negative resentment. One of the girls who we've met here was in Booth Bay with us last year, came here, made some money, went home and built her family a home. They don't want to move there. And here she is like, wow, I went out, I worked so hard, I studied so hard, you know, and they're getting these different career paths, yet there's a real cultural shift. But I think that it takes a while, and it's like they're 100 years behind Life in America. That's the disparity. And from what we were told by Mishan Rotary working on a project in Cambodia, Cambodia is like 100 years behind Thailand. So it really makes you appreciate what you have.
All right. Well, thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Dolly. Thank you, our panelists. Can you give everybody a round of applause, please? So I guess when they say I'm bringing it home, is it comes full circle. Rotary grants take a long time to get together. And, you know, I'm generally an impatient person. But this started when I was my presidency here 3 years ago. And it really took a lot of work to figure out the global grant, how to write it, how to put it together, who the right people were. And it took a lot of hard work and effort, and then came the fundraising. Individuals in this room, we sent out letters, we hosted events, we hung out at Dolly's place, we had an event where the kids came over at one point, and we hung out with them, and we started to understand what this amazing group of people were all about. I urge everybody, you know, go Google Jane McBride, by the way. I know my wife went down a rabbit hole of what an amazing, amazing woman, the founder of the Friends of Thai Daughters, and her background, where she came from. You know, talk about going on the roller coaster ride of life. Fascinating. But we as Rotarians, you know, this is what it's all about. Individual donations, individual advocacy, a kind word, pulling articles out of a Rotary magazine and sharing it with us to give us some ideas on what the global adventure might be all about. Some people might criticize. You know, there's enough poverty and there's enough problems here in Quincy or the South Shore of Boston or in the United States. Why do you have to go all the way around the world? And as I started to, I like to factor back, and I think it goes back to the saying that everything I ever needed to learn in life, when did I learn it? Where did I go? Where did my parents take me in kindergarten? Where did you want your mom and dad to take you? Trip of a lifetime.
Disney.
Disney. Tortured you in a ride, right? Do you remember the ride? Now, it's a painful song, and I am not going to sing it. And if you hear it, it'll torture you for the rest of the night. However, if you really kind of slow down and listen to the words, it's what it meant to me to be a Rotarian, to work on a global grant, to notice that the needs that we have here are the same needs that are across the world, and we need to share it. And the song goes, it's a world of laughter, it's a world of tears, it's a world of hopes, and a world of tears. There's so much that we share that it's time we're aware. It's a small world, after all. There is just one moon and one golden sun, And a smile means friendship to everyone. Though the mountains divide and the oceans are wide, it's a small world after all. How poignant is that? Torturous as that song is when we were kids. And I'll close with this, and I say, it took a little bit of everyone here in this room to do it, and we were in Thailand in the spirit of Thailand. We visited a lot of temples. It was great, the White Temple, the Gray Temple, the High Temple, the Big Buddha. And so I found it fascinating if we would go back to the teachings of the Dalai Lama and what it is to be a Rotarian. Is just like ripples spread out when a single pebble is dropped into the water. The actions of individuals can have far-reaching effects. You have had far-reaching effects. You have changed lives, and this project has changed my life. I have a new perspective on the world. I think I have a new perspective on where the needs are in this world are. And it's also reflective of how blessed and lucky we are, where we are here in the United States, where we have our fellowship every week with you. It's a blessed thing to have that perspective. And I think we all share in that this was just a wonderful, life-changing experience. And I want to thank all of you for giving me that opportunity and giving us that opportunity. So, thanks for coming out tonight. Enjoy the evening. Thanks for your support, and it continues.